Hey, it's Ed. Welcome to another edition of Ed Talk. So much fun because I get to meet up with some really cool people like Dr. AJ Blood. Dr. Blood, welcome to Ed Talks.
Thanks so much for having me. Great to
All
see
right,
you.
coolest name ever, especially for a clinician. Tell us about your name. Like, where are you from? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Virginia. My last name is of Irish origin. Captain Blood is a real historical figure. If you Google him, you might see a little bit of a resemblance and a good Wikipedia page about stealing the crown jewels of England, which is a whole different fun story to jump into. But I am a cardiologist. I'm a practicing cardiologist here in Boston, Massachusetts, with my better half, who also happens to be a cardiologist. Her name is actually Dr. Fresh. So we are the Fresh Blood cardiology couple, which is pretty fun in our social circles.
I'm definitely having you both on at the same time because I think we could have fun with that. Plus, it'll be just interesting, how you balance life and stuff, because you're both in very rigorous careers and those sort of things. I'm sure you have a life outside of medicine together. So you are a creative person as well. So I know you've got a company, AI with Care. Tell us about AI with Care.
Yeah. Thanks so much again. This has been a really a labor of passion. We at Mass General Brigham, where I do my clinical research and my clinical practice, have developed this tool as a research project, really, and as a clinical trialist. We'd taken a lot of time and effort finding the right people who meet the protocol criteria for our trials. And for years, this has been a struggle, really trying to get these trials done on time and in budget is always difficult. And it takes a lot of expertise, time, and effort to take what is a clinical trial protocol and find the people who actually meet those trial protocol, explain the trial, get them interested, get their sign on, and actually run the science that we need to do to understand if a new device, a new pharmacotherapeutic, a new app is really superior to the standard of care and really helping it understand how it impacts health and healthcare. So this tool that we've developed really leverages large language models, so really enabled by generative AI. And we've been able to show pretty substantial improvements in the identification of eligible patients, a paper we published in the New England Journal AI, and then subsequently showing that we can actually enroll people faster using this tool. And that was published in JAMA just a couple of months ago. So really excited to take this really exciting new technology, these new innovations we've been developing at Mass General Brigham and bringing it out to hospitals, health systems, research partners across the country and the world.
Yeah, that's really cool. And we'll put in the show notes everything on how to get a hold of you, how to get a hold of AI with Care, and also any of those journal articles that we can link to for anyone who's interested. Can you use this beyond? So you mentioned you're a cardiologist. Can you use this beyond cardiology for clinical trials? Is it pretty much open to anything? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, I am but a lowly cardiologist. The trials this was proven in and published in the New England Journal and JAMA happened to be trials that I was running. So heart failure was the example and use case that we published in. But we're seeing much more broad benefits and applications. Again, there's nothing specific about the tool or the technology that really focuses on cardiology in any way. So again, stuff that we're starting to test and trial within our own health system and others is how does this work in other disease areas? How does this work in things beyond, cardiology, cardiometabolic disease, which is where I focus my research and clinical practice, into cancer, into GI, into immunology, into neurosurgery. So we're really seeing that this is much more broadly applicable than just the use case that we happen to publish on. So great
Cool.
question.
Yeah, and I love that because I've been on the board of Mary Crowley Cancer Research. So it's like a big clinical trials company, now part of Sarah Cannon, and that was the hardest part, right? Was identifying people who could be in clinical trials. And clinical trials are the basis for, in my opinion, for modern medicine and all the treatments we have today. It starts with clinical trials. It starts with research and then clinical trials. And if you don't have good ability to do clinical trials, then it really slows down the whole process, right? And we want these medicines for healing and things like that. And so I love the fact that you've come up with this AI with Care that really accelerates that process because again, it was so burdensome, so hard to identify and find these potential good matches for clinical trials. And you've pretty much automated a lot of that processes and the results speak for themselves. So thank you for doing that. I mean, that's so important to the whole, patient safety and quality of care.
Couldn't agree more. Again, right? Like I think patients are, frustrated with the medical industrial complex in a lot of ways these days. And I think a big part, and there's good data out there, from the time that a new molecule gets discovered, it can take up to 15 years sometimes to get that into routine clinical practice. There's a lot of different reasons for that, but one of the major ones is getting it through the regulatory pipeline, making sure it's safe, effective, appropriate. and getting them into the guidelines so that we know what are the right things to do for our patients really takes high quality clinical trials. Like you said, evidence-based medicine is the bedrock of what we like to practice as clinicians and make sure that our patients are getting the highest quality clinical care. And being able to really shortcut a lot of those processes by bringing this new tool and technology to clinical trials, we think is a really exciting advance.
Yeah. So let me ask you this about AI, because I'm always curious. How do you leverage AI outside of the workplace? So obviously, this is the best example, talking about clinical trials, but like on a personal level, like, is there any tools that you've used that have helped you or your family?
Oh, that's a really great question, and you hit on a good one on the last one there. And I have no vested interest in any of these, but my wife is a little bit more of an old school person and love her to death. Yin and yang seem to attract. So she has a big paper calendar that she has in our living area that she writes every activity. We've got kids, so yeah, family activities, trips, engagements, obligations, play dates. And I am very much a digital first person, as you might imagine. So being able to not duplicate and replicate that, I can now have an AI app where I can take a picture of her very beautifully handwritten calendar day by day, uploaded that into a digital family calendar that I can share with our caregivers, our grandparents, and loved ones and friends, so that we can much more efficiently share our activities. And our availability has been a major life upgrade for me. That was a very manual process once upon a time, but that's gotten a lot simpler with some of these new AI tools.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to have Dr. Fresh and Dr. Blood back on Ed Talks talking about things like that. Hey, thank you so much for being our guest and also for what you're doing. Because, like we said, this is such an important aspect of healthcare that's often forgotten, and not a lot of care given to it, and it's so important. So, thank you so much.